All museum and galleries have collection management systems to manage the objects and artworks in their care. The people who manage them are called registrars. The registrar is responsible for objects coming into the collections. For this collection management brief, you have been asked to choose 3 everyday objects from your home or school to become objects in your museum. Create an object data sheet for each object. Plan to loan in or borrow one of the objects from a community partner for an exhibition at Leeds City Museum. Plan to loan out or lend one of the objects to a gallery in New York. Present your research and ideas to explain your creative decisions. To find out more about the world of collection management, let's meet someone who works in that role now.
I am the Registrar and Collections Manager for 1.3 million objects in the Leeds Museums and Galleries collection. So that ranges from art objects, museum objects, industrial history, natural sciences, across 9 sites, including historic houses, art gallery, museum, industrial museum, and an abbey. In my role, I kind of look after the life cycle of an object. So when we acquire new objects into our collection, we have to make sure we've done all our due diligence and that it's legally okay for us to acquire an object. When we have it with us, we have to make sure that we're looking after it, caring for it, storing it in the correct conditions and displaying it across our different sites. Because you don't want the temperature to be too hot or too cold, and you don't want the humidity to be too high or too low, because that can affect and damage your objects. Some objects are very fragile, some objects are much more kind of robust. So we have that challenge across all our sites. We have to ensure that we're dealing with any pests that we might get at our sites, such as moths. So anything that comes into the collection is being stored in the store, goes through the freezer first to make sure that we get rid of any pests that might cause any issues in the future. Registrars love documents. We keep all the legal paperwork relating to all our objects. We have transfer of title and entry paperwork to ensure that we are legally taking transfer of title of an object, and we keep records of how that work has come into our collection, how we've displayed it. Really basic object details such as, its dimension, what does it look like, descriptions, who's the artist or who created a work. So we keep those that kind of information, so we have a database where we're recording that securely. We also do a lot of paperwork relating to loans, so working with other institutions, for example, Painting Road National Gallery, we would have a contract with them to ensure that we're doing everything correctly, and we're to ensure we have insurance in place for objects that are off-site to other institutions. Not many people have heard about a registrar until they're actually working in museums. So I studied history of art at university and then did some work in an art gallery in London, and then began to realise that I really liked the whole project management side of things and working on exhibitions. I then moved to work at the Royal Collection, and I was a registrar looking after works in paper, going out on loan to other institutions. After that, I moved to Tate and did the opposite, so I only worked on borrowing works of art into the exhibition at Tate Britain. Now that I'm at Leeds, my role encompasses all those areas, so I look after works coming into the collection, work leaving the collection, as well as loans in and loans out. So it's a really varied job, but it's not one that is particularly well known of. If we're working in a museum, people have heard of curators and community curators and sort of the front of house type people. I'm very much looking behind the scenes, putting everything together, liaising with all my different colleagues. I think my favourite part is just that every day is different, because you're dealing with so many different types of objects and you're constantly problem solving different ways to display things or how to pack objects and send them out, and different exhibitions, how we're going to realise things in different spaces and make them exciting and interactive for our audience.